opening a box of Pandora if we are trying to solve the lenses all with an MVP. Because for me, the lens is looking at many pieces of information and a particular combination of these pieces, and the evidence we can create based on T fundamentals, of, for example, will be just one piece in the puzzle and not the whole puzzle. And therefore, it might be hard to create lenses. I think it shouldn't be, probably it shouldn't be our task at all, because it's looking from the other side.
Correct. Yeah. The lenses, you wouldn't create the lenses. The lenses are something that you would create helpful tools to evaluate the evidence based on the person's use case, right? It's like a special type of query service with the semantics needed for skills and things. Yeah.
Yeah, let me give you, so I think of an example. We are just, or we are about to publish a new proposal for incubating the governance. And the governance is a particular branch within token engineering dedicated to governance challenges. So engineering voting mechanisms, detecting collusion and fraud, establishes processes with algorithmic policy making as well as human decision making, and updating the processes. So this is kind of, it's a token engineer, right? But it's a particular branch, and over time we might, for example, one of the tools could provide the lens for, you're looking for a governance expert, a token engineer that is specialized in governance. Okay, here's your lens, and this lens includes NFTs based on T fundamentals, based on, or other evidence based on projects, based on keywords, whatever. But it's made for people who are looking for governance experts and token engineering, token engineers specialized in governance.
Yeah.
So this could be something like, I mean, certainly not 2021, but over time.
Yeah, so yeah, and that would be, I mean, for them it would be, you know, if there were no UI, it'd basically be writing a query that goes over this kind of like decentralized, expanding evidence base. Or you'd have an app that does it for them, right? But I think about it this way. There are things like Aragon and these DAO management and OneHive, I think, and these types of community management, right? And when you want to get more granular types of categorizations in content, it's basically you're creating like sub-teams and sub-organizations and these types of things. The problem is that type of top-down way of doing it, you have to define a lot of things, and it's hard to get kind of it's hard to accommodate overlapping and kind of fuzzy boundaries, right? So the core idea is that instead of higher level contracts and higher level structures that operate on data and declare what this data means, right? It's more like we have this really smart data, and it has enough information that we can draw temporary, we can like, create those lenses external to it and view it. So instead of like a governance, instead of a governance specific sub-DAO or something within the token engineering commons DAO, it's more like there's just all of this knowledge and all of these deliverables, and there's enough information that we can craft a lens on the fly to view what's related to governance, to view what's related to token engineering in general, and that overlap is accommodated automatically. So that's basically what I'm envisioning as the evidence base, so to speak. DAOs emerge from kind of the bottom-up fashion rather than so around types of content being created and types of work being done.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I've been trying to capture this. What about this, let's say, this first part of the value flows, knowledge creation, facilitating? How would that look like on IAM? What would actually happen?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we'll take so say you have this, say you have an ebook or something, right? Mm-hmm. And you have, you decide that you want chapters, you want to divide it by chapters, and mm-hmm. then every single line has, or every single word has like, maybe, doesn't know, maybe different authors in a single chapter, right? Mm-hmm. And basically, you just define the structure and the schema of that book, and you define the meanings behind it, right? And then you can define, finally, the types of operations that can be done on it. If I were to have this content ebook and I wanted to capture various types of learning activities that come off of it, I believe that I'm going to do an operation where this ebook can be cloned into another NFT that points back to the like root version, mm-hmm. and that ebook can have additional structures defined by whoever cloned it. And one structure might be, say, a course, mm-hmm. and that course might have a schedule in it, right? It might have a set of participants, mm-hmm. and then anyone who's in that set of participants, I'd add a property to it that says that they can mm-hmm. update subsections mm-hmm. of that to add, say, solutions to assignments. And then I would say that I'd add another property that's, say, for simplicity, majority votes. People can vote on the correctness and or the quality of that piece of work, right? And that provides the basically foundation for ranking and that type of thing.
Okay.
But mm-hmm. basically, so IAM at the core, this is what IAM is. Before, with NFTs, if you want to add a new property, a new operation, a new attribute to your NFT, you have to develop a new contract specific to that, or find a platform that already allows it. Like OpenSea, for example, you have you have a lot of configuration options for how you monetize. You can configure which type of auction, but it's all predefined, right? And if you want to auction your NFT off somewhere else, like the bids that occur on OpenSea don't propagate because the bids aren't stored in the NFT. They're stored in the contract that interacts with your NFT. Mm-hmm. Okay. The difference with IAM NFTs is that IAM NFTs do not have a specific standard for what types of data can be stored in them and what types of operations. Instead, it's kind of more abstract than that. It's language and protocol mm-hmm. for defining NFT schemas and the properties. So yeah, so the NFT carries around all of its data regardless of what contract it's interacting with. Mm-hmm. And so it carries around all those bids, even mm-hmm. if it's listed on 5 different marketplaces. Yeah. All those bids are in the NFT itself, not in the marketplace smart contracts. Mm-hmm. So that's how we can define all of these interesting types of actions and relationships, because we're not relying on moving it between one contract or another. It's mm-hmm. basically you add contracts to your NFT rather than mm-hmm. adding your NFT to contracts, right?
So meaning, if I translate it to our scenario here, we mint a first, so we have, let's say, 5 knowledge creators. Everybody is adding a paper to this foundational body of knowledge, which is then later the ebook. We would mint one NFT, the first NFT and link policies that are tracking contributions, or is it 5 different NFTs as the, or yeah, maybe both is possible.
Yeah, so you can mint the individual content pieces as NFTs,
okay.
And you can clone those for an ebook. You can clone them and aggregate them into an ebook, and then you can write a policy on whether or not you're going to accept automatically, say, any changes or upstream changes to the content pieces, or you're going to freeze them at this version for this ebook, that type of thing. Yeah, so it's all up to you how in the policies you define inside of the NFT.
Yeah. Okay, depending on policies. Okay. And in this logic, we would then, okay, let's imagine we mint 5 NFTs and mint a new one that is linked to the original NFTs for the ebook. I mean.
Right. So, okay, there are 2 options, right? So say all the stuff from knowledge creators are not yet NFTs. You could mint them as NFTs individually, and then you could create a new NFT that's kind of a composite token that has all of them in it, or you can mint them independently. I mean, you can mint them all together within the book. Now, depending on how you write the policies, and this is why it's so flexible. This is why we're helping people by building the proof of concept. You could have someone later come and claim that NFT as an independent NFT, even though it's inside of the ebook. And that would create a copy, but a verified copy, right? And basically, your policy would define like what that relationship is between them, if they stay linked or not, right? But that's all based on what kind of properties you've decided to enforce inside of the ebook NFT. And the properties look something like, I'll write a simple example. So say this would be, I'm going to mute myself as my keyboard's loud, but I'll write a simple example.
Feel free to edit, Peter or Natalia, edit my contents just in case you feel okay. It's hard to understand.
Okay, so let me just walk you through this. So this is a property, and this would be similar to, you think of how a smart contract has a particular function. Well, when you interact with NFTs with IAM, you're not calling a particular function. Instead, you're describing a change, and the change will only go through if it this property represents this clone copy. I don't know, right? And it's saying that there's some token in the next state, right? The state change, and this token implements basically is this is the way of saying that this is the same as the original NFT, and I'm saying here that what I want to enforce is that the creator of this copy has the same ID as who we reference as the author of some of the included paper, right? And I'm saying that the copied NFT also satisfies another rule that's self.update. And basically, I didn't include self.update because I made it up, but self.update would be something like if I wanted to basically merge later changes back into my original NFT, that would be self.update would describe the properties or the rules to do that. And so what I'm saying is that by saying satisfies rule self.update, I'm saying that this copy implements the right properties so that we could later make a state change that merges them up. And that's how you add behaviors to your NFT. So they're never stored in you don't have to move your NFT to different contracts, like with transferring an owner to a contract's address, and then that contract will mint a new NFT that's one-to-one to the NFT that you had before, right? You just add more properties to your NFTs, and they automatically enforce those rules that you add to them.
Okay, makes sense. Now, looking at this facilitation step, so we have. Yeah, okay. The textbook, of course, is a special example because content knowledge-wise, the facilitators are not adding that much value. Nevertheless, they are producing an ebook, right? And this is also adding value to it. So we could add this as we have some, maybe not the author, but we would capture additional value added. And maybe include this, not sure if we should include this in the update, because probably it's not relevant for the original NFT. However, we are able to capture this in the second step of making knowledge accessible. I just wonder, it's based on the ebook NFT. This is the second NFT we mint. And here we can capture the facilitators. Yeah, okay. And it sounds like we can implement policies like we are accounting for value add. Or is it, in what way would
you can do two things. I see two things here.
Yeah.
You can add policies that define value at this level, or you can add policies that ensure that the right data, the right information is generated and stored, so you can define value at the next stage, right? Because I think that it's possibly a trap to define value, to actually implement value flows at this level. This is like giving you all of the paths through a forest, and how you decide to define value flows is one path through the forest, but you need to know which paths you have available. This is the scaffolding for knowing all the paths that you have available.
Yeah. Just taking this down. So A is just capture the information as evidence, path through the forest, or capture the value add, or even the value flow policies.
Yeah, because with option B, you're hard coding at this level what you decide is valuable.
Yeah.
But what you can instead do is hard code the ability to basically ad hoc. It's similar to lenses, right? The lenses that whoever's looking through which lens determines what they value, right? And so as a community or as an organization, you can use this to define higher level, basically, incentive mechanisms or compensation mechanisms, right?
And I guess this would be pretty relevant because from our discussion, we noticed that really we might have this case of the fundamentals, and here we can Like, we can even discuss every single detail of a value flow, but there might be other cases where the situation is entirely different. And to have this, for example, peer learning, then even permissionless, where you just want to offer something and benefit from, or let's say, get either increase your reputation, skills, proof of skills, or compensation via offering this, then you are just much more flexible to implement case-by-case policies, or don't include, don't do any value flows at all, because you see it's just too complicated in this case. That's cool.
Instead, you can hard code what kinds of information you would need for the types of value flows that you will probably use, right? But I mean, at the same, like, this is, say I wanted to make sure that everyone, whenever like the ebook is used as input to like a course, that the facilitator gets paid and the knowledge creators that were most used in the course got paid, right? Because the course is based on the ebook, but I need a way to figure out which knowledge creators were more impactful in that particular course. Yeah. Well, you can implement that with a policy too, because you can capture at the grant, you define your NFT structure so that it's the structures at the grant of each knowledge piece that's included in the ebook. And then those can propagate. You can even make those propagate at the policy level by saying that every next step, like every clone, the clone from knowledge content to the ebook, the clone from the ebook to the ebook where you can add a different course to it, right? Every time that happens, you can enforce that, say the relevant addresses are compensated. And if you want to do that,
makes sense. Now, I think, oh my God, we are top of the hour already. What does your token do in this overall concept? So when it comes to accounting for reputation, when it comes to accounting for monetary value, and how does this interact with other tokens? Since our, let's say, the funding that is coming into the system now in monetary value is from external sources with a variety of tokens involved. And where's the handshake to the IAM? How is it called?
MKT.
MKT, yeah. Where's the handshake and how does this all
So MKT, right now, MKT serves one purpose, right? And this isn't hard-coded. Actually, what's funny is this isn't really publicized, but MKT is actually any sort of NFT created with us right now is actually a clone of a meta token that implements our crypto economics. So we're using so you can use the IAM protocol because it's just a language and data structure, description language, and property language, right? You can use that without using our token. But basically, you can think of the entire network has a single root. And the root of that entire network is our meta token. And our meta token implements our crypto economics as the same properties that I've been talking about. So MKT is actually defined within this top level NFT. And MKT is, though, a fungible token. And the purpose of MKT is to enable every single token that's created in that tree, right, to be able to have automatic compatibility. So the way that works is that if you want to mint some sort of fungible token or create a community currency, and maybe you have there's then a parallel community that emerges and they want to reward certain activities, but you need to make, like, you might want different tokens because you want, that creates kind of a boundary between them. But sometimes people are in both and you need to be able to transfer them. So MKT acts as that kind of universal reserve that you can deposit into your NFTs in order to provide basically easy onboard and offboard for interacting with all these different types of sub tokens. But yeah, you don't have to use MKT to use this protocol, because MKT is just behind the scenes, the same way I said that you have the ebook and then someone clones that to have kind of the additional stuff for a course. Basically, when you create an NFT on IM, the default is to actually clone our meta NFT that implements our crypto economics, but you don't need to. Yeah.
I think this should be matter of discussion for the MVP. Just whatever works best. I couldn't say what's the best route to take for us at the moment. And it's just good to know that we could take both routes, and certainly there are pros and cons for everyone, for every route to take.
Basically, if you don't use the top level meta token, if you don't exist in that tree, basically, then it's just harder to have like currencies and fungible tokens interoperate, right? So you're kind of like creating your own network. Like there's the IM network, which will eventually have like our impact attribution, but that's all defined in our meta token. You would be creating a peer of IM network, but still using the IM protocol, because IM network is a particular network built using the IM language. You'd be using the IM language in a parallel network of your own.
I mean, because for us, for example, it's relevant to think about, okay, how can we make the T-Commons token over time more valuable? And more valuable means, okay, increase utility for the T-Commons token. And of course, then next step is, how can we connect tech tokens in terms of paying for a course, paying for having access to proof of skills? How can we increase the utility in these dimensions of a tech T-Commons token? And I guess this is the motivation for, okay, how can we let TEC flow in this system versus implemented with MKT? And I'm not sure. You say, okay, it's a particular universe of NFTs and value flowing and policies, and we would have to check if our content should, and if it's just attractive and makes sense to be part of this universe. Sure.
Yeah. I mean, there are trade-offs to both, right? Because I mean, you don't want to use yet another token, right? So create your own universe using the protocol. Maybe you do want to take advantage of all of the different interoperability that MKT will continuously allow you to do, like pay for you can mint a token. The way you mint a token, if you're using the MKT specific universe, is by depositing MKT into your top level NFT, which is only a child of our MKT NFT. And basically you'd purchase MKT, mint it, deposit it as a reserve into your top level NFT, and then your token would have that reserve, right? Then you can do things like pay for the cross-chain bridges with MKT or your custom token. Anything that costs, anything with an MKT universe that costs that you can pay for with MKT or with any other custom currency can automatically be used with MKT behind the scenes. So if you have like a wrapped wrapped Curve token or something, and MKT has a connector to Curve, well, you can use Curve to buy into, say, something in TEC. Behind the scenes, it's automatically transformed into or exchanged for MKT and then transformed into your token, right? So that's how that works.
Okay, good. Since we are running out of time. What would be, from your point of view, for the next round, what is most important information you'd like to see? And then from there.
I think so. First of all, we should focus on the most foundational use case, which in my opinion is the ebook plus the ability to like create other structures based off the ebook, like a course or something. And I would just say to think about the underlying data structures, the types of information you'll need to embed, the types of actions you think people would create, and people would need to be able to perform on these, and the types of rules or policies you want to enforce. And basically what we'll do is that we'll look at the actions and the rules that you come up with, right, in English, and we'll basically just see, okay, based on your policies, do these and the rules around your actions realize policies, or do we need to add additional things? Because they're just sets of rules, sets of properties, just like what I wrote in there, right? So that's we'll get kind of a specification.
All right. I think we might have a next iteration on a specification. The thing is, we need to bring together a couple of workflows, which is, okay, we could now specify, simplest case, let's take the ebook. On the other hand, we need to take a look at, okay, how interesting is an ebook for sponsors and external funding partners? It might be better to have a different format. And of course, we need to take a look at, okay, how easy and quick we can set this up. Is this really the best use case for the MVP? So coming from different directions, I'd suggest we meet again in 2 weeks I think we should discuss it. It's just writing messages, probably not enough. Having a check-in in 2 weeks on the current state. Okay.
So just a note is that, you can create these ebooks based on more elemental types of content, right? And these ebooks, are they really ebooks at this point when you can create videos and have discussions that are updated in real time as a part of them, right? It's a whole new really type of content. Yeah. So, and you can define basically what it means. So it's like you can think of it from that perspective. An ebook is, I think, a very composite, aggregated data structure. And that means that it has different types of elements and substructures in it that themselves can exist independently as more granular NFTs. So think about that. And then once we have the specification, we can understand the scope of implementation and then submit the grant, right? Proposal. Okay.
Does that make sense, Peter, Natalia? Okay, cool. I'll come back. Who was the organizer of this call? I can come back with another call invite, and then thanks for tonight. This was really helpful, Tana.
Yeah.
And I would love to move on in that direction.
Cool. Looking forward to seeing what you guys come up with.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a good question. Basically, with another project we're working with, we're in the proposal stage, so we're a bit farther along, but it's larger in scope. So I would say that, one more meeting, and then we'll need to kind of figure out how how long the grant will take and how much support we'll get for that. Because by that time, I'd say in about a month, we'll be ready to decide which one we're going to throw the majority of our support into.
And it's either or.
Yeah, due to like resource constraints. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Then see you in 2 weeks or talk via chat. Thanks.
All right, sounds good. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.